Hello, New York Giants fans, and welcome to a new edition of the Valentine's Views podcast here on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Your New York Giants have a day off today, and it's kind of a good time to assess where things stand with the Giants. With about 3 weeks left before the season starts, and here to help me do that, graciously giving us part of her day away from the Giants, is Charlotte Carroll of The Athletic. Charlotte, thanks for a few minutes.
No, thanks for having me on. And I don't know if it's a day away, just not a day in near MetLife, not a day in the
Yeah,
Meadowlands.
yes, that's a day away. That's good enough.
We'll take
That's
it.
that
I don't even know
yes,
what day it is anymore. I'm struggling to like remember days and almost
I
getting
know.
parking tickets.
They Oh,
So
good Lord. I actually went to the stadium yesterday, and somehow or another I got all turned around in the facility yesterday. I got in the wrong exit, and I ended up like over by American Dream. And I'm like, how do I get over to the other side? I was like, oh man. So
the
anyway,
do- dog
no, go
days of
ahead.
training camp.
Yes, it's all running together. Speaking of dog days of training camp, before we get into the Giants, I have to ask you a question about your cohort at the Athletic, Dan Duggan. Have you ever met anybody so obsessive, compulsive, and crazy about note taking? I mean, who keeps 3 years of notes on every training camp practice?
That's
I
why
mean, the
he's the
guy,
best.
the guy posted, and I will admit I used some of that work today in a piece that I did, but the guy's got 3 years worth of notes on every practice, and whether they were padded and whether they were 7-on-7 drills and 11-on-11. I'm like, I can't do that. That's insane.
I got very lucky when I took this job and Dan ended up being my beat partner because I've been able to learn from the best and what it takes to document practice. He's got me taking attendance and like what to spot. So I've just been very fortunate. No bad things about that at all. It's a really
No,
good
no,
trait to
and
have and like it benefits everyone on the beat as you
Eh,
said.
inside secret, every time we all post Daniel Jones passing stats in on a training camp day, we all take our little totals, and then we go, "Hey Duggan, does this match your number?"
Yes. Oh,
So
we always compare, make sure everyone's
yes.
got the
So
correct
it's so
number.
it's all so we should all credit Dan Duggan when we put those numbers in our stories.
No,
But
he's the best.
yes, he is. He's outstanding. Anyway, let's talk about training camp, and really, there's no more fans. It's like it's still considered training camp. The Giants might consider it halfway through because we're heading for the second preseason game. Um, how many training camps have you covered for the Giants now? This three, four?
No,
So
this is actually only 2. So this is
this
only
is
my s yeah, I've covered 3 Giants season or this will be my 3rd Giants season, but I've only done 1 full
mhm,
training camp before this. I came
mhm.
in, like, for 1 day, my 1st season on the beat. So I've really enjoyed I don't know, enjoy is the right word, but it's been nice for me because I feel like I have a sense of what's going on. I'm not like a duck just, like, floating around in a pond right now. I
Yeah,
know
it's
what's
hard.
going
It's
on.
hard to come in the middle. The question I was going to ask is still is valid, considering that. Does this camp, to your eyes, does it look different? Does it feel different than the way the Giants approached camp a year ago?
I think so, yeah. There's definitely different things as you mentioned, Dan. He's like kind of tracked really what like exercises and what they're running a little bit more focus on 11 on 11 this year. And I think the energy too at times is different. I mean, we saw that in the joint practices. I haven't been on the beat as long, so I don't have like the history element, but Dan and other reporters on the beat and even other reporters on the Lions beat just said how intense those 2 joint practices were and that's like an energy that hasn't been around here in like a decade of Dan's time on the beat or less than a decade, excuse me. But just that kind of energy is at least something different. And it was, we were at Fight Club last week. I think that was last week. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah, we were
But
we were we were most definitely at Fight Club, and and I honestly, I get such a kick out of these coaches who say, oh, we don't want fights and we don't want this, and it interrupts practice and all of that. And I got such a kick out of Dable's response to being asked about Daniel Jones getting involved in that scrum, because the words coming out of his mouth and the smile on his face said two different things.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like they didn't mind at all. They really didn't. They want, they want these guys to play with an edge. So, but I'm I've just found this camp to be a lot different than a year ago. It feels more physical. It feels more competitive. It feels like, to me, it felt like last year what they cared about was getting to the starting line healthy, and it didn't
Hmm.
feel like they got to the starting line ready. And I think whether they get there ready or not, I don't know, but it just feels like they're pushing harder this time around.
Definitely. There's more of an intense focus, and I kind of agree with that for sure.
Um, thoughts, just thoughts on your end. Actually, let me ask you about before we get into any of that, the Tyrone Tracy thing yesterday.
Yeah. No,
I'm
I was
I'm blown away that that's just a sprained ankle.
definitely. I was not on that end of the field where it happened. I saw the aftermath. So, like a bunch of reporters were standing on one side. I was just down a little bit further because I hadn't walked over by that point. And by the looks of like everyone's standing around, you see the cart coming out, you see the air cast going on. He drove, the cart came right by me, and he just looked defeated. It looked like it was going to be a serious thing. So, really, a best case scenario for the Giants. Obviously, we don't know how long he's out, but the fact that it's not a season ending like Achilles or fracture or whatever it could be, I think they got very lucky. I don't want to say it's not, but the fact that it's just like an ankle sprain is the best case scenario for the Giants,
Yeah, I
if that's
was
what it
just
actually turns out.
yeah, I was just blown away, from from the way that everybody reacted. I happened to be down at that end of the field, and just so many trainers in the cart and rushing him off to hospital for special surgery the way they did. And I was like, you're kidding me that like 3 hours later he's back in team meetings and they're saying that it's not a major injury. So just the way it got treated and the way it ended up seemed to be two completely different things.
Yeah, Giants got lucky. As you said, the hospital for special surgery usually indicates much more serious things, and that they did that right away. We got that notification right after practice. But then he's back in practices or back in meetings, excuse me. That's the best case scenario for the Giants, I'd say. And for
So
Tracy too, who's been having a really
yes,
strong camp.
yeah, it's that whole running back situation is very interesting how it's going to play out with all those young kids. But Tracy, Eric Gray, Dante Miller, shoot, Eric Gray, just as soon as I write, oh, he's falling behind, he goes and has an incredible game the other day. But that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
He heard you counting him out, Ed. He was like,
I
"Can't do that."
see, it's the whole big blue view thing. As soon as I do that, they're bound and determined to make me look bad. That's what it is. But no, but that's an interesting combination. Has anybody really jumped out at you? We've got all these position competitions. Um, I'm just curious what really concerns you about the Giants at this point, competition wise, position wise. What really concerns you right now?
Concern, I think, as has been the case for the 10 decades I haven't been around here, but at least the 3 years that I have, is the O line and like what this is going to look like come season. There's been a lot of rotation, as with injuries kind of striking early, starting with like Jermaine Illuminor. We've got John Michael Schmitz and Evan Neal coming back, so that's good news. John Runyon was on the sidelines yesterday. So there's just been a lot of like rotation. They had to bring in Greg Van Roten. So just lots of kind of moving pieces. They're closer, I think, to like a more complete line than they were in years past, but I don't know. It's still a concern. There's reason, I think, for hope with like Carm Brasillo coming in, and like you've got veterans and Jermaine Illuminor and Runyon. So if things can kind of settle down, and I think it's good. In theory, you're getting this out now before the season starts, and they don't end up in the same position that they were last year. but that is
Yeah,
one area that you can never discount.
the way it feels to me, and tell me if you agree with this, they've had a lot of rotation. You're right. But last year to me, it felt like it felt like they had no idea what the plan was. They had no idea who the starting guards were going to be. At least this year, there's been rotation, but it at least feels like they know what they want. They know who they want to put where. They just haven't been able to necessarily quite get there yet because of the injuries to John Michael Schmitz and all of that.
Definitely. No, I agree with that. And so that, but still, I mean, the injuries are no, you can't discount that and the kind of chaos it's caused a little bit here and there. But I do think because of that, and as you mentioned, the planning, there's a little bit more stability in like their plans in the future. So we'll see what happens there. Another area I'm a little concerned about is the secondary and specifically the cornerback position, what that's going to look like. And because of injuries to Cordell Flat, we've seen Nick McLeod kind of take over that corner number 2 spot. Andrew Phillips has been working at the slot position. He's been out with an injury. So Isaiah Simmons was in there yesterday a little bit. So just kind of the injuries making their mark on this roster, the concern early for kind of setting up those positions.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could just put the group out there that they wanted and just let them practice for a few days.
Definitely.
I'm curious, what are you looking forward to Saturday preseason game against the Texans? I think it'll be the quote unquote showcase game for the starters. What are you looking forward to?
I mean, Daniel Jones, there's no other storyline. I mean, there's a lot of other storylines, but that's the major one. How does he respond in game time action? We've seen him. He looks better and better with each day on the practice field, more comfortable as he's kind of rehabbing and back from that ACL. So how does he respond in game time?
Yeah, it's it's so amazing to me as controversial a quarterback as he is to the fan base, to the national media. It's so amazing to me how his teammates react to him. There's so much respect for him, in the building and just the way that he works. I mean, Devin Singletary was the latest one yesterday talking about Jones. And it's in a way, for me anyway, it's hard not to root for the guy, just because how hard he works and how people feel about him.
I mean, he's definitely respected in the building. You can't argue whether you like his play or not is another story. Obviously, injuries have had their mark the last couple seasons, but you can't deny how hard he works and how much he's respected by his teammates.
All right, the major Daniel Jones question: are you team beard or team no beard?
I'm team beard. I know that's become a polarizing question on the beat, but I'm team beard. I think it brings an edge. I think it adds a little something, and yeah, I'm for it.
There you go.
I don't think he's considering our opinions, but
no, I don't think he's considering our opinions either. But when do our opinions ever matter?
Never. They shouldn't.
It's funny you mentioned the edge, though. I have thought there's been an edge to Jones that I haven't seen before. This, the entire preseason, off season. Maybe it was realizing how close the Giants came to making a move for Drake May, but I've thought there's been a little bit of an edge to him, the entire time.
Definitely. I mean, you see it kind of in our media interactions, just the way he's kind of carrying himself, the beard alone,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that that's held out as long as it has, or held on, I should say, to the face. But he's definitely, I think that comes with the off season. We can kind of get to the bottom of it, but the Giants were very close to drafting his replacement and his future kind of heir to the franchise. So I don't know if that kickstarted. Obviously, he was coming back from injury and the seasons that he's had. So we'll see if it carries over into the regular season.
Yeah, we will. So what's your I'm gonna put you on the spot. The over under I keep seeing for the Giants is 6.5. And for me, it can go either way. If things go well, they can be better than that. If things fall apart injury wise, then it could be a 4-win season. Which way are you coming down?
I think I have them at over right now. I think I have them at 7. So that's assuming things kind of go smoothly. If like again, my whole thing goes back to the line. That's really what I'm going to be dialed in on this season. Can they keep Jones alive in the pocket, and can they keep him healthy and keep him upright, so
And
he can actually do his job and connect with like someone like Malik Neighbors, who they brought in just to make this offense better.
and it's so interesting. They've tried for so long to build a wide receiver core. And you look at it and you look at Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt, who definitely can't grow a Daniel Jones beard, and and Wan'Dale Robinson and the guys that they've got, and it's like all of a sudden they have one. So, but I don't know, when you talk about the offensive line, I don't think we're talking about being a top 5 offensive line in the league. We're talking about being functional.
Mhm. They just
You
need to do
know,
their job. That's
yeah.
really at the bare minimum is just like do the job and don't allow as many sacks as they did last year, which isn't hard to do. If they come close to that historic mark again, a lot of questions.
Yeah, I that would not be good. You know, there's less of Brian Daboll this year, so maybe fewer sacks too. Maybe that'll be a trend. Less of a lot of things, less bad football. You know,
We'll
I
see.
don't know. I'm so tired of watching bad football and trying to write about it. you know.
Yeah, I mean, this is only year 3 for me. I got lucky on the first year with the playoff run. So last year was very different. And Tommy DeVito kind of came midway through to spice things up a little bit and give us something fun to write about. So I don't think we're going to be short on storylines, though. I mean, there's a lot
We
happening.
we never are somehow. We never are.
We find a way.
Seems to well, it's New York, New Jersey. There's always something that manages to happen to to keep everybody interested. And if nothing else, the head coach loses 1 million pounds and gives us things to write about.
I've tried to, I don't know. I stay away from that. That's, I know it's a talking point, but
Hmm.
it's not necessarily my business. So
No,
I
it's
don't, I
not.
don't, I
No.
don't like commenting on it unless he talks about it and is open with it. But
Yeah.
I just kind of let that one, I'll let other people address, but I did address it in the capacity of what he was doing to kind
Hmm.
of, to get to that point. But
Yeah.
the weight itself is not my
No, you
forte.
did in case folks don't know, you did a fantastic piece on NFL players and using Pilates to train and all of that. And that was well worth the read, well worth the time. And as I said to you at the facility the other day, I love stuff like that because
Too.
it's just such a different. It's not the day to day, humdrum normal football stuff, and I love reading stuff like that.
No, it was really fun to do, and those are my favorite stories. I think if you're a reporter writer, those are the kind of the best things that you want to do, and find different ways to tell NFL stories in whatever capacity that is. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. Was finally kind of able to nail it down initially because of Dexter Lawrence doing it. Give a little tease of what the story entails. Dexter Lawrence does Pilates, so that kind of sparked my interest and kind of grew into like, okay, what can I do with this? And then realizing a bunch more NFL players are doing it, and even NFL coaches like Brian Dable.
Yeah, it's very cool. Anyway, Charlotte, thank you very, very much for a few minutes. We'll let you get on with your day. And Giants fans, thank you as always for listening. Please stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.